Hi guys, I'm Drake Carrier.
I'm James Hallenstein.
Hi, I'm Brady Kuhn, and our research project is on the decrease in youth sports participation.
This is an important issue to us because we all love and have played sports throughout our entire lives and know how beneficial they are, not only for one's physical health, but also for a person's social interaction and communication skills. Sports are something that have become a staple of not only American culture, but more on a global scale. It is able to bring one another together and teach valuable lessons in life.
The lessons that sports teach us are irreplaceable in the eyes of society. According to Patty Naiman from NPR, if kids can learn to fight their fear and work through it, he says, that steadiness comes in handy later in life. When the stakes are much higher, it's an ability Octavio says he relies on routinely, as a software entrepreneur who has created, bought, and sold a number of companies. This is an example of how sports can help people become successful later on in life. Sports also help children develop things like friendship and to be competitive and to have the competitive nature that our society is today. According to local sports supporter and father Jeff Kuhn, athletics at any level teach life lessons you cannot live without. It prepares you in life in more ways than people realize. Some examples of these things are learning to adapt to a schedule or facing adversity, or commitment, competitiveness, teamwork, and etc. All these things are things that happen in everyday adult lives. And Jeff Kuhn isn't the only person who believes sports teach us immense things in our life today.
Building off of these ideas, according to Bruce Lee from the Washington Post, sports get kids ready for life.
The parents know that the physical exercise their kids are getting is good for their health, but that's not their only motivation for encouraging the children to participate in organized athletics. When you do sports as a kid, Rogler of the Washington Post says, you learn how to win and how to lose. The parents know that the physical exercise their kids are getting is good for their health, but that's not their only motivation for encouraging their children to participate in organized athletics. When you do sports as a kid, Rogler of the Washington Post says, you learn how to win and how to lose. You learn what it's like to put in lots of work and have things not turn out terrifically.
This is a common belief among people who play sports and should be information that everyone knows. Who doesn't want the best for their children and who doesn't want their children to succeed? The answer is nobody, so why not do what's best for your children and put them in sports?
We, along with other organizations from around the nation, have noticed a downward trend in the participation in youth sports. According to the SFIA, most alarming, however, is that there is also a decline in youth sports participation across all age groups. Consider that in 2014, nearly 20% of kids were deemed inactive. That number swelled to more than 37% later that year. This shows that the number of inactive kids is growing at an alarming rate. Many people are confused on why the participation percentage has dropped so much in the past 4 or 5 years. There is no singular answer to this question. There is a multitude of factors that plays into causing this issue. But according to Jeff Kuhn in our research poll on Twitter, we believe there are 3 main reasons. Jeff Kuhn says, I believe that the decline in youth participation in sports has to do with various reasons. As you pointed out, a couple of reasons being video games / social media on cell phones to risk of injuries, especially concussions. As these are real issues for the decline, Mr. Kuhn puts the blame onto the parents. Parents in today's society do whatever they can to keep their children from facing and dealing with adversity. So the result is that most parents let their young children make all the adult decisions for them, as they don't want to tell their child no. After gathering our information, we have come to the conclusion that technology, injuries, and parents are the 3 main reasons for the decrease in youth athletics.
As we progress as a society, certain things start to become more socially acceptable in the world of jobs and technology. We're starting to see more individuals trying to make a living by playing video games like the popular streamer Ninja. Ninja has an enormous following, most of which range from the younger kids to teens. A lot of kids are choosing to stay inside and play video games over playing sports because they see that people are making a living off of what some people are now call a sport. While this might be true, it's highly unlikely for anyone to make a living by being a full-time gamer, but parents let their children do this simply because they don't want to say no.
Injuries are also a major cause of the decrease seen in the participation in youth athletics. Specifically, concussions and the post-concussion issues that can occur, like CTE. Not only is this a risk of playing all sports, but there are also ways to prevent getting concussions, from exercises to do before a game or stretches to do at home, to teaching kids how to properly tackle in football. The major issue is that most youth coaches are not properly educated or trained on the topic, and to parents this is a huge problem.
Many parents don't know the true value of their children playing sports, and by not putting them in them, they end up hurting their kids. According to Michael Rosenwald from the Washington Post, there is little debate over the value of playing sports for children, although the risk of concussions in contact sports, particularly football, has become a concern for parents. Still, active kids are less likely to be obese and more likely to have higher test scores, attend college, and have higher incomes. And when active kids become parents, they start the process again with their children. Built on Gatorade and shin guards, it's a virtuous, wholesome loop. These parents also are doing what they think is right, either doing whatever makes their kid happy by not putting them in sports because they don't want to play. But what's even worse, and it is another thing that Michael Rosenwald has noticed, is that nobody bothered to ask their kids what they wanted. Parents need to be taught what is going to help their children be the most successful person in life. Though, because they think that taking their kids out of sports and letting them do whatever they want is the right decision now, that's not really the case, and it's only going to end up hurting their kids.
Approximately 3 million youth are seen in hospital emergency rooms for sports-related injuries, and another 5 million youth are seen by the primary care physician or sports medicine clinic for injuries. Physical trainers Eric Trivoli from The Ohio State University and Olentangy Liberty High School was able to highlight some of what is actually going on inside of high school sports. He states that as of April 9th, there are recorded 12 people with concussions, not including multiple of the same person, as well as seeing around 64 concussions in 4 years at Liberty. He states in the interview that injury in sports are part of the game and you know what you're getting into when you sign up.
Jacoby Brissett of the Indianapolis Colts suffered a multitude of concussions during his year as a starter in 2017. The ND Star states that the NFL has taken head injuries very seriously. He must go through a grueling protocol administered by the league itself. According to a 2017 statistic for concussions, between 1.7 and 3 million sports and recreation-related concussions happen each year. Around 300,000 are football-related, as well as 2 in 10 high school athletes who've played contact sports, including soccer and lacrosse, will suffer a concussion this year. Overall, the concussion rate alone is astonishing in itself. To see adult sports be almost as close to the youth injury rate is a scary sight to see for parents. Injuries at a higher level are far more severe and have a higher speed than that of child athletics. But also, the awareness and precautions taken from the higher level should give parents with young athletes some form of security, knowing that the research and precautions taken are becoming greater as time goes by.
Overall, we want to raise awareness on injuries being an issue amongst all sports and all ages, but it's becoming a problem in youth athletics more predominantly. We feel that with the information gathered and the studies being done to prevent these injuries and understand why concussions happen and what best solves the issue in preventing them, seeing situations like Jacoby Brissett in the NFL, along with the abundance of statistics identifying the top concussion sports that we see in society today. We are on the right track, and this decline in youth sports injuries because of tech shows us how far we have come in life. Lessons not able to be taught by parents and teachers or society for that matter, but is a basic fundamental way to make friends and learn the competitive drive that is our society today.
For our action, we headed to Heights Middle School to talk to a few classes about why they should play sports and why they should be involved in high school athletics and middle school athletics so that they can develop those same skills later on in life as we were talking about earlier in the presentation. As a high schooler with younger siblings, as well as my colleagues Brady and James, we firsthand know that the younger generation of athletes look up to us as high school athletes as a place where they want to strive and want to be at. And going into Heights Middle School as 2 football players and a lacrosse player, it really deeply influenced the younger generation, the younger kids who are going into high school. We can influence them and make a change for them to play sports and have a better life in general.